Welcome back, everybody. Another remote episode of What Drives You. And we have a really cool guest. I'm here. My name's Carl Bauer. I'm here with my cockeyed camera here and my co-host of many, many episodes, Mr. Stan Windhorn. Hey, Stan.
Carl, hello, and everybody. Welcome to another edition of What Drives You. I'm glad you fixed your camera, Carl.
Thank you.
Two true professionals. Uh, yeah, our guest is this is going to be a fun one, man. We've had some guests on that have been connected to Tom for a while, but Tom and I were just trying to figure out how long it's been we've known each other. It's easily 30 years. Um, but let's first welcome him and then we'll talk about everything. Everybody say hello to Sir Thomas Montgomery, the creator and owner of a really cool company called the Imperial Knights Production Company. Tom, thanks for joining us on What Drives You.
Thanks for having me here today, Stan. Carl, having a good time here. How you
All
guys?
right. We're doing good, but listen, how many guests that we've ever had, Carl, have been a professional knight their pretty much their entire professional career? I know we've had some people from medieval times. Tom, we had Jack Ryan on, who's now the director of the Bourbon Museum in Kentucky. And we've talked about medieval times with some of our other guests, but let's go back. When did you start at medieval times and how did you decide you wanted to become a knight?
Oh, I started in the industry because I was installing garage doors at the time,
Hmm.
and the guy I was working for sent me to go install a garage door for Robert Harrell.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now Robert was my karate instructor when I was 13 years old at church, and so I was working at Medieval Times, and while I was installing his garage door, we talked a little bit about getting me an audition. And he got me an audition over there, and it was my way out of having to do that type of construction for a long time.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy to run into Robert and have that type of connection there as well. So he got me an audition, and I actually didn't even get the first audition. It went with someone else. And you know that place, Stan, it's a revolving door. That guy
Yeah.
out apparently, and so they called me back and
Yeah.
gave me a shot. So
So let me ask you a question, because I know sometimes medieval times prefers that the performers, especially the stunt performers like you were, to not know how to ride a horse before they come there because they want to teach you their way of riding. Were you a rider before medieval times?
no, not at all. I rode it a couple of times at camp when I was a kid, and then I proved that I couldn't ride a horse when they put me on that horse in the back and started lunging me around. I didn't know it, but Victor was up top watching me, and Mike Dempsey was the guy who was lunging me. And
Yeah.
he stopped and he looked up at Victor and he says, "Well, what do you think?" And Victor just shrugged his shoulders and walked off. And he said, "Start tonight." He didn't say no.
That's funny. Well, let me give a little context to the two people that he just talked about. Mike Dempsey was a knight, and he was a good one. Bit of an attitude. Um, I don't want to say bully, but he wasn't like the friendliest guy in the castle. And Victor was not only the trainer of the horses at that time, but he trained all the stunt guys. And Victor was this macho guy from Spain. I mean, if you got his respect, he was really cool to you. But boy, he could run right over you if he needed to. So very intimidating guy.
And I was one of the guys that gained his respect. He took me under his wing, and so did a couple of the other guys. Made really good friends with the co-owner of Imperial Knights there, James Dawson.
Hmm.
He and I uh, put Imperial Knights together, and were able to venture away from that castle and do our own thing. And
Yeah, I want to talk about that. But before we talk about that, Tom, because I think it's an interesting story, not only how you kind of broke away from medieval times, but what happened in the interim. Certainly a David beating Goliath type of a story. But have you ever thought about, I think about this from time to time, like I've got my top six knights. We've both seen a lot of really good professional guys who do this job. But have you ever thought about who your top six would be?
have I thought about who my top six would be? Um, Well, it would depend on the style of jousting we'd be talking about. Are we talking about the full thing from sword fighting to jousting, or are we just talking about the sport of jousting? Because there's a lot
I'm
of
talking about the whole performance.
just impressive. But they can't sword fight a lick, you know, so or they're not on the entertainment spectrum that I would put at a top 10.
Yeah.
But definitely,
You don't have to name them. I was just curious if you ever thought about it.
I've absolutely thought about it, but I put them into different categories, and so I couldn't compare one to the other. Uh, but I could in their own category, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
You know,
I had even thought about top six, but also like you and James fighting each other was
sure.
was was about as good as it got. Working as a team, you guys were just, righteous.
James and I fought really well, and you know, it's amazing because you could take a guy like me and James and a few other guys, and you can intermix them, and because they can feed off of the same energy, we can all be those people against those ones. You know, James was awesome with Jeff McAllister. He was
Hmm.
awesome with Greg Hopla. Uh,
Yeah.
he was awesome with me. There's a couple of other guys that Kenny, you know, so those are top performers. But you put those guys in a jousting arena, they're not going to do very well, you know. So the jousting is a little bit different these days than it was back in the day when we were just at medieval times. These crazy guys didn't exist back in the early '90s doing this heavy armor jousting stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, you really got to respect the level of jousting and where it's come today, and
Yeah.
the level of competition within the sport. It's really cool.
So, Carl, I'm going to put something into perspective for you and our listeners. What Tom's talking about is at medieval times, everything is choreographed. Of course, the better knights, like we're talking about, they shouldn't look like it's choreographed. But the jousting is also, they're not wearing heavy armor. Everything is planned. But Tom and a few other crazy people started doing like basically real jousting with like real armor and the whole thing. So I don't understand why anybody'd want to do it, but that's what Tom's referring to.
And you know, I won't even do that top level of jousting. I'll do the light armor competition of jousting, and then there's a medium style, and I'll do that one. But to go full heavy armor, no thanks. I'm smarter than that one, Stan.
Somebody's got to run the show.
But
Okay, let's get back
I love
to
working
Imperial Knights.
together and watching it. It's really spectacular to watch.
Cool. All right, so there was a time you were at Medieval Times for a while, and then you and James had decided to venture out on your own and start your own jousting, sword fighting stunt show called the Imperial Knights. I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about how that came about.
Well, you know, ironically, Imperial Knights started because of the fact that we worked at Medieval Times. I bounced around a little bit. I worked at Medieval Times, and then I went to Excalibur in Las Vegas, and I worked there under different rules and different things. And so it was nice to see another way of working in that industry. And then I was able to work with the Lipizzan Stallion show in Las Vegas, where I met my wife, and we still are together and producing Imperial Knights Production Company today. And then I went back to Medieval Times, and when I was there the second time with James, we really concentrated on wanting to putting our own events together and doing our own show. And Medieval Times even approached us about doing shows for them outside of the castle, because it's very difficult for them to take horses outside of the castle and do outside events and stay on schedule with the horses and maintain it. So they came to us and asked James and I to do that. And so we did it, and then they didn't like the price. They didn't think we were being honest with them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I look back on it today. It was a very good deal for them.
Yeah.
And so after that, then they caught wind that we were doing this outside of the castle, and they told us we could either quit or quit Imperial Knights. or quit Medieval Times. It was one or the other. So we ended up, for the moment, we decided we were going to quit Imperial Knights, but the reaction was a lot greater than we anticipated, and the program was wanted outside of the castle by other people. And so we ended up going with our program, Imperial Knights, and quitting it. And then after we quit, they gave us a big lawsuit right on New Year's Day. They served us at Patrick Lamke's house. They found us over there because we were celebrating the New Year's over there. And they served us our papers there. And so we ended up going to court with them for quite some time. As I look back on it, lots of money was spent. And at the end of it all, they said, hey, don't do the same exact show. And that's where we are today. So we don't do their show. They don't do our show.
Well, I was impressed by the fact that, I mean, they have a heck of a lot more money than certainly you guys had, especially back then. And literally it was justice and a David who beats Goliath type of a scenario with that lawsuit.
The numbers are beyond what we could comprehend at the time. Because when you're in a lawsuit with somebody, you get paperwork on people and you just can't believe the numbers and the amount of money that they spent trying to prosecute us, just to try to put us out of business. And to offer James and I $5,000 to quit so that we wouldn't be able to do that, it just seemed ridiculous. So we stuck with it, and I tell you what, we stuck with it. We went through a lot of feast, a lot of famine in order to get here, to be at least successful at it, and to maintain a business for almost 30 years. So.
Yeah. So, why don't you, Carl, do you have any questions before I talk a little bit more about some of the things Tom's doing and done?
Yeah, Tom, I was just going to say, I mean, to do, Stan and I talk about this a lot on our channel, which is, obviously the theme is what drives you in life really more than, originally started out as an auto channel because that's what Stan and I do day to day. But to do something you love and entertain like that for 30 years is an incredible blessing, an incredible journey. So especially when you start out with a battle like that, I mean, you're battling, like Stan said, David and Goliath. And I've been through a couple of those and they're no fun.
Carl, everyone thought we were crazy for even attempting to go up against them. And we think we were crazy at the time too. You look back on it and you think, I'm glad we were able to trample that hill and get up it. It was very difficult to get up that hill. And we made it. And I'm glad we're here today.
Well, since you brought up the word crazy, I'm going to shift gears for just a second, then we're going to come back to Imperial Knights because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about with that. But Carl, Tom, and James, the guys talking about, were the guys who talked me into going skydiving for the first time.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing it quite a bit. We all got into actual skydiving, but Tom had a couple of incidences that were very unique. um, Probably doesn't happen all that often in skydiving. You know which one I'm talking about, Tom?
Well, I can think of two incidences
I
where
can think of two too.
happy. Are you talking about the one with the mud?
Well, the mud was the funny one.
Huh?
Let me set the story. So, Carl, when you're skydiving, there's a lot of different levels of skill. Your flying skills, when you're free falling, but then also controlling your canopy, and you want to be able, when you're flying like this, the really good guys can land those things on a dime. And so as you're getting better and better at this, you want to try and kind of hit the big circle at the drop zone. But Tom ended up, the other thing is you want to have a good landing. You don't want to be coming like all dusty and stuff, which showed you landed on your ass or something like that. You don't want to get all dirty and dusty.
Hey, you want to step off on tippy toes, right? Okay.
So what happened, Tom? Like, was it a storm or why was it so muddy?
Okay, so even that morning, James and I, we went through back when Payless Shoe Store was around. We drove through that store on the way to the drop zone because I needed a new pair of shoes. And I got these slick shoes. I thought I was the coolest thing, you know. I got these shoes, they were the silver ones, and they had no hooks on them. You know, I always said, you don't want any hooks on your shoes because you don't want to hook up any lines or anything. So, oh yeah, you know, these are real slick, nice shoes, right? So I get out there and I'm renting gear, I'm renting all this stuff, and so they give me a jumpsuit to wear. And Stan, it had been raining for like the last 24 hours. And when we got out there, they barely let us go because the field was so muddy. But the drop area was on a high ground. So that circle you speak of wasn't wet, but everything else around it was and muddy and swampy. And I came in for my landing and I'm like, I'm right on target, man. This is perfect, right? I came in and I got some kind of a drop and a drift. I dropped a little bit and I came in too early. My feet landed in the mud so deep that I couldn't pull my feet out. And my parachute was pulling me forward because it's a forward flying parachute and pulled me straight down onto the ground. My parachute landed on dry ground, perfectly dry, and I splatted face down in the mud and was covered only on one half of my body from head to toe, covered in mud. I took my goggles off. The only thing you could see was my eyes.
That was the best part, man. It was literally like a cartoon. He takes his goggles off, and that's the only part that's not covered in mud. Yeah, classic.
I thought you were going to say, Tom, that you pulled you right out of your new shoes and they were gone.
No, but because of those new shoes, they were covered in mud. I threw them in the trash right away.
All right, so that's a funny one. But tell them the other story, which you luckily you made the right decision, saved your life kind of decision.
Well, that parachute that day still, you know, that was a rental. So I was really glad that it landed where I didn't have to pay for the cleaning on that one because it landed right on the dry spot. Go back. Next few times we go, we're still demoing some parachutes to purchase on the containers that we own. And I say that, you know, we bought our parachute. Do you remember where we got our parachute containers? Didn't you get one?
Well, I bought a whole rig from the guy who was at that time one of the top freestyle jumpers. He was a bigger guy like me, but I bought the whole rig from him, parachute and everything.
We found a guy that was on the movie with Wesley Snipes, the parachute movie, Drop Zone, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You mean Patrick Swayze?
No, that was Point Break. This one is the one with.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And they do that big giant, I don't know, 50 guys or something out there, and they had all the red, white, and blue containers with their chutes. We ended up buying containers from that movie, so we all had
I remember that.
red, white, and blue containers, right? So it didn't come with the parachute. So we were demoing parachutes to find out which one we wanted to buy from the pro shop there at the Drop Zone, and they give me this new one to try out. And so we go and we hook it up. And so you have to hook it up to your 3-ring system on your shoulders. And you put it together and you fold your chute up. Real easy to do, right? And we get it set up. The instructor comes over to me and he didn't inspect anything or anything. He asked me how it's going. It's not, you know, he's not in charge of me. He's just one of the instructors there. So he knew what was going on. He's one of our friends. You remember Patrick McGowan?
Oh, yeah. I love Patrick.
Yeah. Like 8,000 jumps, you know, the guy's a master at it. We all idolize the guy. And so he knows what's going on. And he's like, good luck, have a good jump. And so we go out there and me and James, we have a great jump. We're like tagging each other and flying around. And I go and I pull my chute and I'm flying backwards, Stan. It was hooked up. They were hooked up opposite than they were supposed to be, left, right. So I'm flying backwards instead of forwards. So
I mean, what's going through your mind at that time?
This is all within 50 jumps that I have in my career. So it's not like I'm a master at knowing what to do and how to fix things. You know, they teach you a lot to save your own life. I tell you what, Stan, you know it. You're the only guy up there that's going to help you.
There's never been instructors on what to do if your parachute is flying backwards instead of forwards.
Well, they don't tell you that part because they don't assume that's going to happen to you. But they always say, if you got a square canopy and you can fly it, that's a good canopy. So
That's right.
I unstow the brakes to see if I can control this thing. So instead of going 5 miles an hour now I dropped to 35. When I unstow those brakes, I end up going backwards. Woo! And I do it. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not going to be able to land this thing. Are you out of your mind? So I cut away and I get into a new parachute, and that one works out great. It was hooked up.
The reserve.
And scared James really good because all he saw was my parachute coming down to the ground really fast. He didn't know if I was in it or not. And I land on the drop zone in the right spot. And they all come running out there too, because everyone's watching and they see a cutaway. Everyone knows it now. The bells are going off or ringing or something, right? And I remember Patrick McGowan looks right at me and he said, "Who packed that thing?" And I raised my hand, and he called me Davis. He said,
so let me put this in perspective for Carl and some of the listeners. So they teach you a lot of stuff, and part of what he's talking about is a cutaway. Is if there's a problem with your parachute that you can't fix, you cut away that parachute, it flies away. Now you're in free fall again, and then you open your reserve chute. And that was Tom's decision because they never told you what to do if your parachute was hooked up backwards. But he made the right decision because the next month there was a magazine called Parachutist. I don't know if it's still around or not, but every month they would have an incident report where people all over the world got hurt really bad or killed skydiving. In that next episode was a guy who tried to land his canopy backwards, and it took him down and hit the back of his head, and it killed him. So Tom made the right decision.
I made the right decision, and I'm really glad I did.
All right, I'm going to segue into another thing because Tom's a tough son of a bitch, as you can tell. Jouster, sword fighter. There is a video that is actually on my channel. I did not shoot this video, but I edited it for Tom. But this was an event that Tom was jousting with the Imperial Knights, and he had a horse named Rosie who was pretty new to the whole thing, and it got away from Carl. I may have showed you this video before, but Tom's in a full run on this joust, and the horse trips and literally goes head over heels with Tom on it. So the head's here, and it just comes over and flips over and lands smack. This is about a, what, 2,000-pound horse?
2,000-pound Percheron.
Yeah. Lands right on top of Tom, right in the middle of the show. And guess what? At the end of the video, I built a little suspense with the way I edited the video. But I don't know, a minute later, the guy who shot the video was shooting from the stands. He's like, "Oh my God, is he all right? This is crazy. Everybody's freaking out in the ambulance. Next thing you know, Tom gets up. He's got a cut on his head. He starts walking away like a badass knight and goes on and finishes the show.
Well, Stan, we're always programmed. You finish the show. You finish the show. I mean, what? You're bleeding a little bit. You finish the show. I mean, if you can, and I wasn't going to be able to come out of there and say, yeah, I couldn't have finished that because I could. I did. Whatever I had left in me, I gave it out there. And I learned a lot on that joust because you may work for a place called Medieval Times for a couple of years, and you may work for a place called Excalibur, but you don't know what you got until you're on your own, 2,000 miles from your house. You're set to perform, and your horse doesn't want to do it in any fashion. You're trying to make it fun for everybody and the horses as well. But this horse was right at the hit, was trying to jump out of the list. And so what we've done in the past is put some type of a barrier or wall next to the outside, and the horse would run down and see that and go, well, I'm just going to go through it, because we're not doing anything to the horse. The horse just got scared for a minute.
Sure.
So this horse goes down and jumps out of the list and puts its front feet right into that one hay bale that's right there at the end, the last one, and got tangled up into it and just literally did a head over heels. and landed right on top of me with a Portuguese saddle. And that's that saddle that has that high backing in the front. And what it did was it just gave me it made me face plant, did a belly flop right on the dirt. Because I was trying, if you watch this thing in slow motion, I'm trying to pull her out of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying. And you can see I throw my lance because I don't want to land with that thing in my hand.
Right.
But the shield, I couldn't get it off my arm in time. So I landed with the shield, and that wrenched my leg. I landed on the handle that really wrenched my leg, and then it tore up my forearm kind of. And then when she came down, she landed right on my back, on my shoulder area. And that's what really I've had problems with. I had problems with for a long time, was in my shoulder.
I can imagine.
The guy who shot that video was just a fan, and shot the video on a DVD and then sent it home to my house. Went and got my brochure somehow and sent it home. I didn't even know the video existed. Now, my wife had stayed home because she was pregnant with our son at the time. So she's at home, 8 months pregnant with Russell. And she gets this video. And of course, I haven't told her that I've been run over by a horse. So she puts the video in. Darn near goes into labor set. Oh my gosh. So she couldn't even watch the end of it. So she didn't even know I got up.
Wow. Okay.
She did.
That's amazing. Okay, well, let's go back now to your business, Imperial Knights. You've been doing this for a long time. You've mentioned your beautiful wife, and Andy, for multiple times. Carl, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is part of the reason why I asked Tom if he had ridden horses beforehand, because Tom is obviously a very accomplished horse rider now and has been for many years. But I put Andy in the horse whisperer category. I mean, I've learned more from her spending 10 minutes with her than you do from other trainers and things. She's just absolutely amazing.
She'll just forget more than we'll ever know. She got it. Yeah, she's magic.
Yeah, and she's been part of the show. She does the dressage horse routine in the shows, and
100%. She was my boss at the Lipizzan Stallion show when I worked there. About halfway through I worked there for about only a year. And really blessed to have ridden all those Lipizzan stallions. They're very highly trained. They and her taught me so much about how to ride in such a little crash course. After I had already been to medieval times, yelled at in Spanish on how to try to do it. That was really difficult. You couldn't learn there, as far as, the language barrier for me was bad. And so to get somebody to speak to me in English and to teach me how to ride taught me so much. And she's our head horse trainer here at Imperial Knights. She rides and has a dancing horse in all of our programs. She's magnificent. Yeah.
Tom, is this the same horses, the Lipizzans that are up by me in Chicago, the Temple Lipizzans? Is that from that same strain or same family?
More than likely, yeah. There's a few different Lipizzan farms, but the Lipizzaners are the ones that Patton saved in World War II. So they have a big story going through World War II and how the military came in and saved them in Austria and saved the Spanish riding school. And so that's what that program was all about, and teaching people about those different horses and their breeds. And the Lipizzans are very similar to the Andalusians that medieval times uses. So whenever you see beautiful white horses that are drawing those carriages, they're either Lipizzans or they're Andalusians. And then the black ones are always Frisians,
Always Frisians, yeah. Well, you mentioned that when you came home from having a giant horse land on you, and you finally showed this video that she almost went into labor. So you now have a son named Russ.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about how Russ is involved in your company.
Russ is 100% full-blooded medieval knight. Couldn't have bred a more positive kid for that job. He's been jousting since before he was born. That's how we introduce him. He's the Pantene Prince. He used to have the long blonde hair. Stanley cut his hair off, but he looks good as a short-haired knight as well. He's 18 years old now. He's going to turn 19 on Friday.
That's incredible.
Friday, my son's going to be 19 years old. And he's great. We just got back from a Renaissance fair where he and I went and did all the fights and the jousting. And then, he gets to fight some younger guys that we have in the program. We've got to fortunate enough to acquire a few really talented jousters in our company, and they fight really well with Russell. He does a really good job. Really proud of him as a son and as a performer. He really listens. He's a good horseman, and
well, he's been around it literally his entire life. Is he the heir apparent? Is this something that he wants to keep going with as an adult, or does he have other aspirations?
Well, Stan, we actually just went through this during his 18-year-oldness. He's been kind of finding his independence. And we just went through that conversation with him and asked him specifically after graduating high school, what do you want to do? Are you going to do this company the rest of your life, or are you going to do something else? What are you going to do? And he wants to take this company over and multiply it and make it better than it is now. So the answers that I received from him was exactly what I wanted to hear, because I didn't have a dream of owning my own business and doing all this stuff as a little kid or something. The dream is something that can be developed, fairly quickly as your life approaches. And so this was a dream that manifested itself fairly quickly in my life and then took over. And it's something that we're able to make a living at doing and keeping our lifestyle into horses, because that's what the family's all about. And he's going to take it over. That's what he wants to do. So we're real proud of it.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Tell me a little bit about, I know you've got a ranch out in Norco, California. For anybody who's not familiar, have you ever heard of Norco, Carl?
I have. I don't know why I have, but I think just because we got a lot of customers out there, mutual customers.
I know.
If you live in California, Norco is horse. Everybody says, oh, the horse town. It's a big place for equestrians.
It's officially Horsetown, USA.
Oh, and there you go.
Home of Hotel California. So Hotel California is right down the street from here, the prison. So back in the 50s and the 60s, this is where, all the movie stars in Hollywood would retreat out to Norco and head out to the Norconian, this big hotel that we have right over by the prison. And then, as it got more popular, they moved out to Palm Springs. They went further out. So this was a really big town for people to come out from Hollywood and retreat, get away from that type of busy lifestyle. And it certainly isn't that way now. My goodness, it's a incredibly busy town. We're right off the I-15 north of Corona. It actually means Norco is North Corona. And it's just Horsetown, USA. No sidewalks, no street lights. It's all horsey. The bar down has a hook. If you have a business on 6th Street, our main drag there in town, you have to have a hookup for your horse so that customers can hook up their horse and come in and use your business. So, and that's what
that's cool.
From other cities around, we keep it that way for a reason. And it keeps.
All right. So I know you take Imperial Knights, you do Renaissance fairs all over the place, other kinds of fairs. You get called for a lot of shows. Before we end, I want to talk about a show that you and I did together. Carl and I did an episode about the specific event not too long ago.
Okay.
But you've got something going on at your ranch now. Do I understand this right? You've got something you call Taco Tuesday.
Okay.
Explain what that is.
Taco Tournament Tuesday is a gig that developed out of COVID. Okay, so during COVID, they shut us down and said, you're an entertainer, you can't go do anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? So coming out of COVID, we built our ranch to accommodate all types of people to come and enjoy the festivities. It's like a mini medieval times, so to speak. We call it Medieval Land. And on Tuesday nights, we call it Taco Tournament Tuesday. We have tacos, we have pizza, ice cream, beer, soda, and a jousting tournament. And it's only a jousting tournament. There's no sword combat. It's the people in my group get together and we want to decide who the best in our group is. And this is the light armor version of the real competition jousting. So there's a target on your shield. You get 4 passes against your opponent, and it's based on how you hit the target. You get points 1 through 5, and whoever has the most points at the end of your 4 passes moves on in the tournament. The loser's out. It lasts about an hour and a half, and it's just something that we do for our community here. It's free to come in, and we pass the helmet at the end. So if you want to make a donation to the program, you're more than willing to do it right there, and have a great time. Bring your family. It's a community event.
That's so awesome, man. I love that. I love that you were thinking out of the box and doing something, like you said, that the community could come and enjoy. Okay, I want to be real respectful of your time. Tom has been gracious enough, Carl, and I'm grateful for this because I really enjoyed my time at Medieval Times and I miss being able to perform. And there has been times where Tom has given me the call and flown me to different places to we call it the master of ceremonies, the MC his shows. It's always a blast. But this one kind of went backwards, and we did a whole episode on the time that we did the party at Jennifer Lopez's house.
That was a
Um,
very, very fun event.
yeah,
And
what's your memory from that time?
Stan, I have a couple of memories. I remember meeting Jennifer Lopez directly and helping her get on my horse, Igor, my big 17 two-hand Parisian. She wanted to take it on. Getting her on that horse was a challenge and a lot of fun. And then I remember meeting Howie Mandel, who lives next door.
Yeah,
What a story I got to tell you. You got time?
Yeah.
let's hear it.
So I meet Howie Mandel out in front of the house because it was a surprise party. So they had us park down the street. So we parked down the street, and Howie Mandel's walking his dog, and he walks up on me and my horse, Igor, the big black Frisian. And we're all ready to go. We're all in our armor and dressed up. And he wants to pet my horse. And I said, oh, no problem. I even gave him a brochure that says, hi, I'm Imperial Knights Production Company. This is our company, and we're doing a show over there for Jennifer Lopez and her manager for a surprise party. So we're parking over here. He's like, oh, that's so great. How cool is that? Can I take a picture? Sure, no problem. Takes a picture, get la, shake his hand, off he goes. We go do the show. The very next morning, he's hosting the Regis and Kelly show. As Regis had passed away or was not involved in it anymore. So I think
Yeah.
it was Howie Mandel and Kelly. And who's their guest? Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
And son of a gun, if they don't go, hey, Jennifer, can I talk about the party you had at your house last night? Oh, sure, no problem. I'm really wondering why you had Medieval Times come to your place. You could have had them you could have just went down to the castle in Buena Park. I thought to myself, I was watching this live, Stan. I'm going, are you serious, Howie Mandel? I
gave you a brochure.
You just gave somebody else a plug that really didn't need the plug. They're doing just fine financially. It really could have done us a good job, Stan, if you would have just said our name instead of. But other than that, we had a great time doing that gig, just like we have all the times doing our job. I mean, how fun is it to know that you can go into someone's backyard with your horse and joust around our swimming pool and have a great time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a fun event, man. It really was. But we've had so many, and we could sit here and talk for hours, Tom, and not cover all the memories and things like that. But I really want to be respectful of your time. Carl, do you have any questions for Tom before we kind of start wrapping it up?
No, I mean, Stan talks so. It's funny, Tom, because when he talks about, I don't know if you've been to his house in Austin, but it's like a shrine above his fireplace to Medieval Times and the knights and all that, and the stories that he's told about me. Well, yeah, he just lights up, and it's just definitely a season you could tell that he loved and still loves being around the horses. But the most impressed he is with you guys who were the fighting knights. That is
no
just
question.
Raving about it.
Well, but that time in our life with James and Stan and Jack Ryan and all those people that were just lighting that castle up at the time. What a joy to work at Medieval Times in the early 90s.
And what a quality show, man.
I enjoy going and doing gigs with you anytime. We just fall right back into the same old Stan and Tom, and it's a good time. So I look forward to the next time we work together.
Well, dude, listen, anytime you need an MC, I want you to call me. I really do, man. I'd love to come and do another show with you. So we finish things up, Tom, with a few questions. Carl, I'm going to turn it over to you. You can go ahead with the vehicle questions. I haven't prepped Tom on this one, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
so you'll do fine, Tom. So normally, like I mentioned earlier, we started this channel. This came out of COVID, so another response from COVID. I did some episodes that never hit the air because I was worried about them being perfect and just shouldn't have been. And so now, actually today, right now, so thank you for being honest, episode 77. So we are moving up. Yeah, we're starting, and we're new and growing and doing some cool stuff. But it's fun to hear people's stories that, what gets you up in the morning, what gets you motivated. And for you to do this for as many years as you've done is just a testament to just a dream and a drive to keep entertaining people. It's amazing.
Appreciate all the fans out there that are going to see this. They're the ones that make it happen.
Yeah. So
I appreciate you guys having us on. It's really nice.
Yeah, no problem. So the car questions, back to that, we still keep a little segment in, so we call them our car what drives you questions, but we'll finish up and Stan can ask you this one because he can probably get some cool wisdom from you. But basically there are these three. I'll do a rapid fire. What was your first car?
My first car was a 79 Dodge Dart.
Yeah.
Grandma's car. My dad bought it for me. But then I got a 63 Chevy Nova. I was a lot happier with that.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Good muscle cars.
Ryan, that orange Nova.
What was your favorite car of all the cars you own?
My favorite car is the one we own right now. We have a 65 Mustang that me and my son are restoring. And we're hopefully any day now getting it back from the paint job guy.
Nice. That's the second Mustang restoration we've heard on the channel. So cool.
So in 2020, COVID, I said, my son needs to learn how to do something. So we got a project car and I wanted him to learn how to turn a screwdriver.
Yeah. Good learnings. And what would be your dream car, Tom?
My dream car? I think my dream car would be a vehicle that held all my horses and a really killer RV. It would be a very big car. I want to roll those horses in luxury along with me.
There
It'd
you
be
go.
a 4x4 Prevost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a 20-horse trailer behind me. Cruising next show.
Love it.
Cool.
All right, Tom, we're going to wrap things up. But the last thing we like to do is to ask sort of a words of wisdom, sort of a advice for life. Like if you were going to be talking to a young Tom about the age of Russell, or maybe you would say even something like this to Russell, what would be one thing that you wish you knew when you were younger that you would pass on to the listeners?
I would tell my younger self and my son to make sure that you're always on the right side of issues and to do what you love to do, because then it won't feel like you're working the rest of your life. And if you're the guy that can save the world, please know how to use a screw gun so you don't blow it. You know what I mean? You got to be able to use your hands and use different tools, plus be a smart person in the industry. You got to have everything. So that would be my advice.
Awesome. Listen, man, it was great catching up. It's good seeing you. Please say hello to the family for me. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be on What Drives You. We appreciate you.
You're welcome, Stan. I love you. Appreciate you guys.
Great to meet you, Tom. And hey, guess what? I'm going to be out the first week in October. I'm going to be in California. Okay. So I may come out for a Taco Tuesday.
Please come out and be our guest. Love to see you.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be good humans. We'll see you on the next edition of What Drives You.